welcome to the Next Gen Show. We are here tonight. I'm Becky Tomko. I am the hostess with the mostest, and I have been blessed to be joined by a wonderful gentleman named Patrick. He is actually the CEO and co-founder of Rapid Funnel. He's a lifelong entrepreneur and has successfully built multiple companies and large sales teams. And he's energetic and inventive, and he loves philosophy and leadership and is passionate about sales and life. I'd like to welcome Patrick Shaw.
Becky, it is fantastic to be here.
Thank
you for the applause.
That's our live studio audience.
I like it. Listen, I'm excited to be with you, and it's really fun to be on a live show. You know, I do a ton of podcasts, but so many of them are recorded, so it has a different feel to it. That's exciting.
Very much. So you got to watch what you say. No bad words.
I'll remember.
All right. So the biggest question I've gotten today, as I have put this information out that you were going to be on the show tonight, is what is AST?
Well, in simple terms, it's authentic sharing technology. Many people may be familiar with the MarTech space, the marketing technology space. And so we're a piece of that and relatively new, and people are not familiar with it. But any kind of marketing technology, right, helps companies with marketing, sales, that type of thing. Authentic sharing, very specifically in that space, is technology built for peer-to-peer interactions. So we're all familiar with platforms, great platforms, but like Constant Contact, Infusionsoft, Aweber, ClickFunnels, SurveyMonkey. Those are all in the MarTech space. And every one of them uses basically a one-to-many approach. You pay for their platform, you go in, you build it out, and then you market directly to tens, hundreds, thousands of people. That's a one-to-many approach. Authentic sharing technology is we build out all of those tools into one platform with a coach, a trainer, a consultant, an enterprise, a business owner, right? Somebody that affects a lot of people. But we build out all the tools in conjunction with that coach and their content. And then we deliver it to the individual users, preloaded, everything's organized, and it's personalized to that user. So they effectively download an app, and within 3 or 4 minutes, they've got tens of thousands of dollars of content that is personalized to them, surveys, campaigns, capture pages, all of it. And all they had to do is access the platform. And we call that authentic sharing technology. So it's very much a peer-to-peer, relationship-based. In a digital world where it's very noisy, the best way to cut through the noise is through personal relationships, but the tools really aren't built for those. So that's a brief explanation.
Okay. So what is your definition of authentic? A lot of people that's a word that's been thrown around a lot. So what is the definition authentic for you?
Well, I almost feel like you have to say what it's not. And what it's not is, every company is trying to be authentic, right? And the word is bandied around all the time. But the reality is the only thing in my mind that truly is authentic is people. It's human beings to human beings, right? It's a relationship. I have to understand you and you're understanding me. And we can try to be authentic in a one-to-many. Or Southwest Airlines, who has a great culture, can try to be authentic in an email to a human being, but ultimately it's a company that doesn't have a relationship with one human being. And I love Southwest, and they do an awesome job. But that's the breakdown, right? Authentic is really between two individuals who have a personal relationship, are getting to know each other, and they're genuine. they're upfront, they're direct, they're honest. It comes in many different forms, but that's authenticity.
Great. So why did you create this technology? What problem did you feel like it was solving?
Now, thanks for that question. And that probably explains it the best. I had built a sales force of literally tens of thousands of people, and we were not in the digital age, right? I'm dating myself, but Becky, this was 25 years ago, and we were used to sitting down. I mean, this predates like the advent of coffee shops on every corner, right? I mean, you would sit down with somebody over lunch or breakfast, and you do a presentation with the flip book, and that's how we taught and we trained. And so it was very simple. You would onboard somebody, we put a list together, we taught them how to sit down with a human being, have a conversation, and then the digital world came about. And when the digital world came so fast, MarTech came so fast, the sales team that I had built and others like me had built, we were struggling to keep everybody following a simple system, because some people are like, oh, Patrick, you don't know what you're talking about. You got to use Facebook or this constant contact or an email campaign, there were all these tools out there, and there was a lot of noise, and none of the tools were built for a sales team very simply to communicate a message without them having to create a bunch of stuff on their own. And so that was the beginning, Becky, is that we just started creating some tools for my own team and a $1 billion company that I was marketing their products and services. They came to me and said, look, your platform's working. It's working for everybody. It's not just your company that's using it, but now we have others in our company across the country and internationally that are using your platform to help their sales teams. And I realized there were a lot more people out there and companies and coaches that needed access to a platform like Rapid Funnel. And that was the beginning.
And so how long has Rapid Funnel been around in this authentic sharing technology?
Well, really, the company was formed about 7 years ago. I lose dates and times a little bit, but, and I started using it about 10 years ago, myself for my own sales team. And then about 6.5 or 7 years ago, we moved to what's called a multi-tenant, where we could sell to other companies. And we really formally launched the Rapid Funnel company.
Great. So the problem that you were solving was the simplicity, the duplication.
Yeah. It's really being able to take somebody that's part of an organization, whether they were in sales or they were an employee or they were a technician or a delivery person. It doesn't matter who they are in a company. Every single person in that company should be telling their company story. Right. I read a story once. I think it's Into the Cloud. Mark Bianoff, the founder of Salesforce, said he was on an elevator and he had a marketing guy and a developer, and he had somebody from accounting. And then there was a guest on the elevator, and he goes, "Oh, I've seen you guys up there on the 4th floor. This is in the early days." And he said, "What do you do?" And everybody gave a different explanation. And Mark was frustrated because he's like, every employee should be able to tell our story very simply. And so he printed out the story on a business card, passed them out to every employee, and said, everybody should use this if somebody asks. Well, we essentially put all that into a mobile phone and we gamify it. We incentivize people, regardless of who they are in a company, to more effectively communicate the company story. They don't have to feel like salespeople. We make it fun, very easy, very simple. And we increase ultimately the number of times the company's story will get told and the effectiveness of that story. And that's something that every company is looking for. They're like, hey, we got to get our story told cost effectively, efficiently. We need to get it told more often. And that is exactly what we do. And we do it in a really simple way.
So one of the things that I at least know I'm from a marketing background too. I've worked with Infusionsoft, Constant Contact, um, CRMs, all of those things over the years. Worked with different sizes of business. What it's usually about an automation is what they talk about, and getting that. How does that differ or is similar with what you do, or is it?
Yeah, yeah, it's a great question, and the fact is that we use things like gamification and machine learning and algorithms, and we have a very large development team, and we're into business analytics and activity metrics and all that stuff. But we never let those things get in the way of the authenticity or the human behavior that we're trying to drive between two human beings. And I think as technology evolves and it becomes more and more adept, or the potential increases over supporting this fundamental activity, right? The relationship is paramount. Getting, one of the things we drive through our technology is we drive human behavior. We want the user of the app to engage more often and more directly with the people that they're prospects or who they're communicating to, whoever that may be. We want them to engage on a more personal level. Now, do we use digital tools and algorithms and data to drive and create that human interaction? Yes, we do, for sure. But that's where we're not trying to hide behind technology. And that's where authentic sharing technology really comes in, is we're trying to more drive the human behavior and the relationship than we are the digital tools. And a lot of our clients who are digital marketers, they can't help, or they come from that background, they can't help but come in and go, can you automate this entire thing? And I'm like, yes, we could, but we're not going to, because that violates the authenticity we're trying to drive. And what we're seeing with our results and our data is that personal relationships and authenticity can cut through a lot of digital noise. We can get to the heart of the conversation and we can get a result much quicker than just hiding behind technology, because the consumer is starting to get savvy, right? And you know this, Becky. I mean, they're starting to figure out that, hey, this isn't real. You're just trying to look authentic. And there's a difference.
Right. And that's definitely where that word being thrown around in various ways, for various communities and various businesses. So one of the things that I heard you say was there's some analytics. Now, as a marketer, that was always very important to me. I wanted to know what was actually converting people, like things that were making a difference as well. So what was working? Was I sending the right message? Was it to my ideal client or my client's ideal client? Whatever the case, does your authentic sharing technology help you with that as well?
Yeah, it's a huge factor, whether it's for enterprises or coaches. But I'll give you an example of a coach right now. So we have a coach that just came on board, and he's one of the top car sales trainers in the world, right? He's really good at what he does. He used to sell cars. He was so good, he became a trainer, right? And naturally, he wanted to evolve out of just selling cars. And so, but he was limited as a trainer only to his coaching. He doesn't have any analytics, activity metrics. He's got all these car salespeople that follow him. They're even willing to pay a subscription to get his coaching advice, but his coaching is limited because he doesn't know what they're actually doing on a day-to-day basis. How many people did they talk to? Did they send him a survey to do some discovery to find out what their interest was? Did they put them into an email campaign? What actions did they take? Well, this coach put all of this content into our platform. Now he sells not just coaching, but he sells a tool to those car salespeople. And of course, this fella, Andy, now has all the data about what these individuals are doing, so he can help them. He can be more effective in coaching and consulting them. He knows out of all of them how many people prospected somebody new today. What tool or resource did they send to that person? Did they put them into an email campaign, right? He knows a lot of information about what the people he is training, what they're actually doing. And that information is extraordinarily valuable. And when we talk about business analytics, activity metrics, all that kind of stuff, that's an example and how it changes for the coach. Now, when enterprises come to Andy, like big dealerships that have multiple locations, he's an expert, not just because he has good coaching. It's theoretical. It's anecdotal. It's like, hey, we think you're a good coach. You sure sound good. You said you were successful. But now Andy goes, he's going to be able to go back with real data. Hey,
Right.
This is the difference between when people do X versus Y, and I can prove it. I have correlation and causation data as to what led to the sale. That takes him to an entirely new level. Because in the past, and not to take this too far, Becky, but in the past, digital marketers always had this. They know opt-in, play rates, open rates, engagement rates in a one-to-many approach. But when a company or a coach has a bunch of salespeople or independent individuals out there, it's very hard for them to gather data about what is actually happening in the field,
Right.
face-to-face, person-to-person.
Right. And there's still a lot of individual entrepreneurs out there like that coach. I mean,
Yeah.
he has a team, I'm sure, of some sort, but not something that he can really duplicate. So this is a duplication for sales and a duplication for coaching. And are they able to also put in there any of their because one of the things that I always, when I was part of something, was there was all predetermined things and there was nothing else I could send. So I couldn't send my personality through that as well. Is there an opportunity to be able to tweak or change or do any of those things even as a subscriber?
There is, and there's a number of features that are built in to support that individual user to allow them more authentically to deliver their message, right? To change up how the text is written, to create trackable links that are within the platform for themselves. So there's a number of features like that. And then all the tools that get created on a personal level by the coach or the enterprise that get delivered to the user, even that content is personalized to the individual user. So if I'm a user, I may not have created the capture page, but my picture is there, my phone number's there. If I send a survey to a prospect and they fill out that survey, I get the answers to the survey, right? And so I have insights about what my prospects, and it comes off incredibly professional and incredibly personal. So it makes the user in the field look like the superstar instead of the user in the field just promoting the company they work for or the brand that they work for. This is about how do we make the user of the app the superstar? And sometimes it takes some re-education where we're going to the enterprise and saying, listen, your job is not to ask all your people to make the brand a big deal. Your job is to let's make the individual in the field the superstar. Let's help them be more authentic and help them be more personal in their communications. And sometimes that takes some marketing departments. It takes a shift, a paradigm shift for them to follow this different authentic sharing technology approach.
Well, that's a paradigm shift that's happening online in general. You see a lot of coaches talking about authentic and not ever mentioning the brand or the company that they're trying to promote of things. So these
That's true. Like in LinkedIn, you see a lot of people starting to create their own brand, and which is smart. I mean, that's the world and the day and the age that we're in anymore. People realize, like even with these cars, if I'm a car salesperson, and I change jobs every 5 years in that industry on average, I think it is. If they go into the next dealership and they go, I have 2,000 personal contacts in my app. These are relationships I have with buyers in the Denver metro area. How much more likely or impressed is the next employer going to be? Because that guy understands that he is his own brand. And if companies don't respect that, right, employers are going to start going other places. They're like, hey, help me to build my career. Yeah.
Right. And that's even real estate. I mean, I don't know how many real estate people I've known over the years that go from one broker to another. And so, but they've had to build a personal brand for that as well. So that's definitely something that is coming on.
It's a great point. Yeah.
So it's something that I'm noticing on social media, even in Facebook. The new things of Clubhouse, TikTok, it's about the personality and showing your authentic self. And, all the bells and whistles and all the warts and as well.
That's right.
So
now I will comment on that. And this is what's interesting, because you're 100% right about all these different platforms. But here's what's really interesting about these platforms and what people, I think, if I'm a coach or a trainer or a business owner, enterprise, and I'm trying to help my team succeed, you've got to realize these people are out using Facebook or YouTube as an example or whatever it is. Well, who owns that data?
Facebook or them?
Right. So if I go create a group on Facebook and I've got 10,000 followers, let's say, and I deliver a message to those 10,000 people, does Facebook deliver to 10,000? Absolutely not. They pick and choose on all kind of algorithms, the small percentage of those 10,000 that you gathered and created an interest in your products and services. They'll only deliver your message to a small percentage. And then they turn around and sell advertising to your competitor because you've helped them gather information regarding these 10,000 people and garner interest about your company's products or services. And then Facebook turns around and sells advertising to your competitor and markets to them behind your back, essentially. Now, is it legal? Yes, that's what you agreed to in the terms of service. But is it right? I don't think so. And this is why people with authentic sharing technology, part of this model is you've got to build your own database that you own, that you can take with you. And that's a different model.
Yeah, that's the email list. That's what used to be the thing. It used to be your business card folder, your let's date me, your Rolodex file.
That's right.
But now it's digital. And I know too, there's been people that have built businesses on Facebook, and then Facebook just decides to turn them off, and they've totally lost.
It's amazing, right? And it's happening more and more. And no political views here at all. But when they can turn off the president of the United States, now it doesn't matter which side you're on, but when they can turn them off, they can turn anybody off. You think you're building your brand there at any time for any reason, they have the right to simply shut you down.
Yep.
So I believe you should use Facebook and YouTube, but you better be darn careful and not let them use you.
Right. And that's where you want to make sure that your tribe, your group of people, your followers, whatever you call them.
That's right.
Actually have their contact information to deal with them directly, not just through Facebook and stuff.
That's exactly right. It's so true today, Becky. I mean, it really is. If people don't hear anything else tonight, like from a business perspective, it's just mandatory. And people don't know the game they're in, which is crazy. They think they're playing one game, and and I remember back in the day, I was a little naive, right? And I'm just so grateful for these platforms giving me a voice and a place and all of that. And now I'm like, wow, I didn't quite understand the rules of the game that I was in.
Right. And it's constantly changing too. So, because their terms of service get updated, and we just all go, yes. So, all right. So, well,
I do think it's coming around. The optimistic side of me does believe there are a lot of companies like ours out there that are saying, you know what, we believe in the user rights, right? And I think there's a lot. It's not just us. I think there's a lot. There's an uprising where people are starting to say, hey, you're building this. I'm going to respect and honor that, and really support. And you're going to find a more engaged, a more loyal user and follower if they know you have their best interest in mind. So it's coming around.
Very good, very good. So we put on the bottom of the screen, if you are interested in learning more about Rapid Funnel, there's a Calendly link in order to set a time to get a half-hour consultation about that and see how it can work for your business. We have just a few minutes left. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
No, I don't think so. You know, I listen, I always get excited about, I was a guy that I failed the fourth grade a couple times, Becky, and severely dyslexic, and, you know, and my great passion is just the human being's infinite potential. I always get excited about that. And, you know, we built a program, which is my labor of love. It's not my business, right? Rapid Funnel is my business. We've got employees in 8 countries around the world, and, you know, 70 people. And, you know, and that's how we make money and build a business and all that. But my real passion is I love this personal growth. I love helping people to identify their values, their purpose, their goals, creating congruency between those 3 things specifically: values, purpose, and goals, so that they can create a new vision for their life. And if you can create congruency between values, purpose, and goals, and you can create a real vision for your future, then extraordinary things really can happen. And so I have a program called bridgethegaptoday.com. People can go check it out. I don't spend nearly enough time there, but it's my passion, and it's the thing that I really love to help people, because I was there. I was the kid put aside, and, you know, you're educably mentally challenged, and, you know, there were a lot of labels placed, and it helped me as a child because I realized that nobody else can define you. You get the freedom to define how far you will go in life. And we built a culture at Rapid Funnel around those type of ideas, which is exciting as well. But that's the only thing I'd say. Yeah.
Being authentic all the time. I mean, and without any boundaries, which we put so many boundaries on ourselves. Well, I appreciate you coming on to our show tonight. I look forward to bringing you on another time, see how the growth goes, see how this technology changes as well. But we're going to say goodnight for tonight. We're right at about that half-hour mark. So we appreciate you coming today and sharing your story.
Happy to do it, Becky. Thank you so much for hosting.
Thank you. All right. So for everybody that's out there, we will see you next time on the Next Gen Show.